Hi folks, Coach Alexander here. And one of the questions we get is, which test should I take? The GMAT or the GRE? Now, there's reasons for both, but let's make it very, very simple. It really depends on your objectives. So it's not the test that determines what you do after, it's what you want to do that determines which test you take. I'm sure all of you understand this. So let's look at the type of programs that you may be interested in. A large majority of our clients wants to go to a good MBA program or a good executive program. All MBA and executive MBA programs take the GMAT, all of them. They require it. Many of them have begun to accept the GRE. In the last 5 years, more and more and more and more, but not all of them accept the GRE, okay? The other kind of clients we have, they want to go, for example, for a master's in a finance program. Also depends on the program. Most accept GMAT, some accept also GRE, some may only accept GRE, that depends. But in that case, you decide depending on what schools interest you. And as we said, if anything to do with business, really just stick with the GMAT, and that's probably your best case. Then we have people who want to, of course, go to masters in other disciplines, or maybe even PhD programs. Usually, if they're not business-related disciplines, even for example economics, they will usually allow you to take the GRE and as long as you do well. Now, let's briefly talk about not about the differences between the tests, because all of this information is very easy to find, and that's not what you should really be concerned about. What you should really be concerned about is your psychology, meaning once you choose what you want to do, your goals, after that, you look through the programs that interest you and you look at their requirements. Everything's available and lots of argumentation available. Don't waste your time going to a lot of forums and where people are just talking to each other. Focus on what you need to do and better use your time and your mental state to plan your training, because your MBA or your master program, guess what? It begins as soon as you decide you want to apply. Because the exam is not just a doorway to get in, it is part of your preparation. That's part of your Jedi training, shall we say. But to finish on the thought of which exam, the advantages, some of the advantages the GMAT provides also, and I guess you can do that with the GRE, but if you're going into industry like maybe consulting or finance or banking or there's some other ones, later the GMAT, if you get a good score, later the GMAT will help you. It could be used, for example, on your resume or on your CV within your skills to give an indication of what score you got, if it's a good score, so that the employer or the possible employer looks at you positively. But at the same time, if you go to a good school, by definition, you're going to need to get a good enough score to get in, and we'll talk about that. Let me just read, because many of the people watching have asked me specifically about graduate programs in business, international high-ranked MBAs. And let me just prepare you, there will be other things in other videos, and you can find all the scores, but let me tell you what they say. Here's from a school, I found an excerpt, that accepts both the GMAT and the GRE. Okay? So here's what they say about the GMAT. The GMAT score, their average is around 700, a little bit higher than 700. It's one of the top 20 schools in the world, depending on which ordering you use, whose ordering you use. It could be in number 1 or number 5 or number 9 or whatever. So here's what they say. In order to be competitive for the GMAT, you should aim to achieve a score at or above the 70 to 75 percentile, pay attention, on both quantitative and verbal sections. That's what they want for the GMAT, in order to get a score of 700, and they want it to be balanced. They say if you choose to take the GRE, we accept it, but you should aim for 80% on quantitative and 80% on verbal. Now we can talk later about why that is, or why people perceive one exam to be more difficult than the other. But to finalize this particular question for now, business, stick with the GMAT. do it well. And when you want help with your ideas, with how to put your future plan together, or just to describe and put together an outline of your future plan that will allow you to make the right preparation, you're welcome to contact us, and we will be happy to talk to you about it.